All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. My name is Everett Delorme, and today I'm going to take you guys through a bit of a film video session. Now, I'm going to break down a recent match. I'm going to go through not every single point of the match, just a few key ones along the way, and we're going to break down some film like I normally would if I were coaching or when I'm kind of doing some film studies to talk about it elsewhere here on the Volleyball Source channel. We will be doing the Verona versus Trentino match that happened this past weekend in the Italian leg of volley, and before we get started, you may notice that I have a bit of a black eye. It is not makeup. It is in fact a black eye. I accidentally smacked my face into a bar at the gym. I'm trying to get fit for 2026. Started running last year in 2025. Now we're going to the gym, okay? New year, new me. Not really. New year, same me. But I smoked myself in the face last week, and I was unable to open my eye for a good few days. And now that I'm able to open my eye in 2026 for basically the first time in 2026, we're going to do a nice little video for you guys. We're going to break down, as I said, Trentino against Verona. It was a massive 3-2 reverse sweep for Verona, and I'm going to break things down for you guys. Not every single point, but just as the match goes on. And you'll notice here as I do it that I've kind of upgraded some things. As you guys will see here, we're using the classic volumetrics view, but I've added a little something. I can draw on it now. So I'm going to be able to kind of point some things out and just kind of what I'm seeing in real time. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. This is my first time doing it, so we'll see how she goes. Now you'll notice we are a point into the match. Darlan blasted his first serve out of bounds. So we're going to start things off at 1-0 for Trentino. And it was, so you'll see here, well, let's go to real time here. Flavio serving. He serves at Mosic, and the first ball for Verona just goes outside to Keta. And we're going to slow things down and just look at the angle that he takes, right? Look at the angle. Oh, beautiful. As he's coming in, just get behind the ball and hit that angle by opening himself up. Beautifully done. And Keta, we're going to kind of obviously look at him quite a bit throughout this match because he does things really unorthodoxly, right? He's not very normal. So we're going to be able to pinpoint that throughout this match. Good serve there by Keta. And then it's kind of shot for shot early on here, right? Keta gets a big bounce, and that's just a ridiculous angle by Micah. Watch as he comes in. He's able to hit that sharp cross court, and you'll notice too, like where he's able to hit this ball. It's kind of up here at the top of the antenna, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like he's hitting way over the top of the antenna. And once again, this is why we call him the unicorn. So the first thing that I want you guys noticing in this play is the position of the blockers, right? Look how bunched in they are, right? Look how inside they are. And even though you've got Micah on the outside, they're still prioritizing that back row ball. They're still fronting all three of the hitters. And then as this continues on, Ramon is going to come up to the left side of Bartha, but there is no bite from the middle blockers on Verona whatsoever. They're really prioritizing that first ball actually going to the back row, which I think is very important, right? And as you see, as we continue on, it's a really good block there by Micah. Great pickup by Micheleto. We'll erase these lines. And then, just such a good job. We're gonna back that up again, actually. Just watch Micheleto comes up, just a nice little tip down the line, but Darlan does a fantastic job to open that up. We see Mosic come in. He gets blocked, but Micah right away, and that's twice now that Keta has approached that ball with Mosic going for it, okay? And then we're just going to go to real time as a really good job there by Marco Vitelli to this time actually go with the middle. Now, I'm honestly not entirely sure. Maybe he thought the fact that Ramon was coming in second, but I will say Spertoli goes to Bella Bartha in particular a lot in transition. So that to me maybe is a situation where they've looked at that in film and he's picking up on that right away. Now we've got Micah, and this is the first serve, his first serving run of this match, and it just kind of shows this. So this theme here, obviously you've got the switch there between the two, but I want you to see where he's serving on Sartori. He's trying to serve right inside of his body, right? Not too far away that is comfortable, not in his midline. He's trying to get to the outside of him, and he doesn't catch him that situation, and it does provide a really good out of system. But this is exactly what I talked about a little bit earlier too with Nomori Keta, because he's doing everything that coaches tell you not to do when you're hitting an out of system ball. He doesn't get his feet to the ball. He's actually turning it back, like he's not following the momentum of his body, but just the length that he has and his ability to hit that ball so much higher just really allows him, if we're going to see here, to go just OT over top of that ball. So we're going to see this once again here, and he's going to hit that ball right at the top of that block, touching the fingers. Just so well done by Nomori Keta. And that's why he's one of the best up-and-coming players in the game right now. So in this play here, I actually want you, there's something I want to watch here. It's a line kill by Teo Fall, gets touched by Sartori, the young libero. But when we go back, I want you guys to see where Teo Fall is starting his approach, right? He's going inside to outside on that approach, right? And he's hitting it right inside the attack line, or right inside the antenna. So he's still got a lot of room there to be able to hit that ball. And you're actually going to see that that approach changes throughout the course of the match, which I think is really important just in terms of game planning. And as, you know, a young hitter, if you keep on showing the same thing over and over and over again, you're going to get stopped. See where he's starting. He's starting all the way back on the baseline. He's looking for that momentum, and then he's coming inside to outside. But what this actually allows him to do is to hit different lengths of that ball, right? Because if need be, you know, they could actually push Micah, which is what he's doing here, and then bring him on an inside ball, or they can run a more straight up and down ball and have him to the inside. It's, you know, it just allows him a little bit more versatility when he's hitting that C ball, D ball, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to watch Spertoli serve here. And I've talked about in the past about how Keta isn't the best passer. And to me, it's all about his eye tracking. Right? In this serve, you can tell that he clearly doesn't want to pass this ball. We're going to see Spertoli serve from here, and then it's going to be contacted just on the inside knee of Nomori Keta, right? So that ball curves just a little bit. It's originally going to Keta, but you're not seeing him react to that ball at all, and instead, he's looking to the libero to make that play. Sartori is out there, and I think he's pretty young. He's like 23, maybe. But, you know, it's not D'Amico. It's not their usual libero, and that's kind of the conversation that's happening right there. That, to me, that needs to be a ball from Nomori Keta. Like, that doesn't even, like, that's just a lean over, and for him to be able to take. So already it's early in the game. You're going to see that Trentino is leading 8-5, right? And this is just Trentino's game plan early on. What they were doing a really good job of was serving strong and then just having a really solid side out game. And that's exactly what we saw early on in this match. 8-5. So this time Spertoli goes to the other way, and there's that set. You've got a good pass by the Rock Mosic, and we're seeing Vitelli on that 31 line. And you'll see as we go back, where does, like, Flavio's in the middle. He's watching, but he needs to stay there because of Mosic coming through, right? He needs to stay there because of Mosic coming through, and you've got Darlan, which just leaves Vitelli wide open, right? You got Darlan over here, you've got Keta over here, and Flavio is just stuck, right? Flavio is just stuck in the middle, and you'll see this sometimes with Flavio, where he's just kind of caught watching the setter. You see him takes a quick peek over. You've got Fo, who's fronting Vitelli. But, right, Fohl is right here in front of Vitelli. But Vitelli's line is coming back into the court once again. And then Fohl's assignment isn't Vitelli at all. It needs to be Nomori Keta out here on the outside. So you're going to see Micah Christensen go back to this set quite a bit. And it's a favorite of his. And I actually love the way he runs that 31. So here's another play with a backside ball to Teo Fohl. And it kind of pinpoints what I said earlier, where he's hitting that ball to the inside. So let's slow this down a little bit. And it's actually a really good push set from Sbertoli all the way to the outside. But once again, just take a look at where Théophile is hitting that ball. It's on the inside. So there's still about a foot there, which really, really plays into Verona's blocking, right? So if we see, actually, is this going to be the same play? So if we see here where Verona is blocking, they're really shifted over, right? You've got three guys all within 2.5 meters of each other. And there's so much room over here, right? They're really prioritizing Micheletto, of course, on the outside here. And then their secondary ball that they're looking at is definitely Ramon in the back row. And sure, you do have Théophile, who is a front row player right now, but because of the length of this set, it really gives Keta and Cortesia the ability to kind of close that gap. And that's exactly what we see them do here. And once again, we'll see, where does Faux hit that ball? It's on the inside. And Nomori Keta just does an unreal job to shut him down. But once we get later on in the match, just look at where Faux is hitting that ball and the angles that he opens up for himself. So the two teams have just kind of like traded some points through on this one. This one's a really interesting sequence, because first and foremost, look at that ball coming in, how many options Micah has. And it's really interesting because, once again, like we talked about the Verona being defense being really inside, but all 6 of the Trentino players here are all on the inside, right? Not only are the blockers stacked in down the middle, but you've got all 6 of the Trentino defenders kind of in this zone here, and you've got so much room on the outsides for them to be able to do whatever they want. And this, to me, is because they're really prioritizing first and foremost that pipe attack, right? They're really prioritizing. They're seeing that the first threat right now has to be Keta from the back row, right? Because the first tempo ball, well, the first offense that they're going to see is potentially Micah on the dump, right? And a setter's dump is generally going to be in this box here. So they're prioritizing that. Then the next one is going to be Nomori Keta. And we'll see throughout this game that Trentino really likes playing these angles here when they're trying to stop that pipe ball. All right. And then the next one, the third thing that they're going to be looking at is going to be the outside ball. But once the outside ball is set, then you're going to have a little bit more room to move around. But as we see there, we'll just back that up and slow it down. As Micah is coming in, just a really good step. And Micheletto is just waiting. He's just waiting there for Darlan to come through. And that set's a little bit high. And I think Micheletto can see that one because Darlan doesn't really have any options, right? Because once again, Micheletto is just waiting there. That set is a little too high for Darlan, and Micheletto is just waiting. Great block. Nice and disciplined. Great job. So this is that serve that I talked about a little bit earlier, right? And you'll see here that they're really serving to his shoulders, right? They're not trying to get him to move too much, but they're not putting it down his midline ever. They're really sending heat to his shoulders. That's a great serve there by Théophile. So on this play now, we have some really heads-up blocking here by Verona and Rock Mozic. And you'll see it's just kind of a broken play, a fantastic pancake there by Lorenzano, and it ends up in a 3-man block. But what I want you guys to look at is how quickly here Mozic realizes that it's going to be a 3-man block situation. So as soon as that dig is made, right, you'll see here, dig is made, Bartha calls it, and before Bella Bartha is even touching that ball, Mozic is coming over, right? So Bartha's coming over, and then Mozic over here, right? Dig's made, Bartha's coming, and then Mozic closes that block quickly and is able to create a really good look. And now that's a tough situation for Ramon to be in, but it's a really heads-up blocking play by Rok Mozic. So this is going to be a play where we're going to really see the progression of Teofol swinging. Now he got the scoring down the line, he got blocked going down the line, and now he's going to that cross court. Now it was successful, bit of a broken play there by Verona, but once again, you'll see as we back this up here, slow things down as he comes into out, and this time he's looking for that cross court, right? He's looking to see that go cross court and to, create just a little bit more separation, okay? Because even though like the Rock is fronting him there, he's really swiping that ball across to try to create that separation and now go through his sequences of different shots that he has. So this is going to be another good defensive play here by Trentino in the first set, as we'll see Flavio just put the clamp on Mozic on the one-on-one from the pipe ball. Now, when we slow things down a little bit, you'll see here that, Micah actually has all four of his options, but still you've got Trentino in their box. Ramon here looks like he's already getting ready to go outside to Darlan, and Flavio, actually, if we go back a little bit. Now look at Flavio here. The pass is made. He's watching the ball. He takes that little look over, but there's no biting whatsoever with Vitelli, right? There's no biting whatsoever with Vitelli, and the entire team kind of knows that Micah is going to Mozic there. And that's just some really heads-up blocking by Trentino. And then also you'll just see to the angle of Flavio's arms. He's reaching across the net. He's trying to take as much space away as possible. Once again, because whenever Verona is hitting, Trentino wants to be playing defense in those spots. And you'll see, even though it's after the play here, you see that you've got Spertoli and you've got Lorenzano just kind of on either side. Now, even though they're down by a lot here in this first set, there's one part of Verona's game that I was really impressed with. It looks like it has really improved since the first half, and that's their coverage. And you'll see it right here in this play, right, where Mozic does a really good job covering Keta on that out-of-system ball. Keta has hit the out-of-system ball. It wasn't a great pass. Good block there by Flavio. And Mozic is there and ready for that ball. And the other thing here, too, is that Darlan out here stays really patient on this swing. Right? He's really patient on this swing. And to me, he's looking for that recycle, but instead he sees that opening. So we'll see. He's really patient here and then just kind of drops it underneath. Now, Micheletto wasn't able to get all the way outside, and that's due partly because of the speed of Micah's set here, right? And, there's just so much daylight there for Darlan to work with, and instead of trying to wipe it off the hands, he just goes underneath. So as I mentioned earlier, to watch the approach angle of Teofol, this is a really interesting one because Darlan shows a completely different look and a completely different way to do it, right? This passes to the inside, right? And Micah, it's in the inside, but it's still pretty decent. He's got, one of his favorite shots right here, the middle on the 31. Right down the middle and another gap. He's got Mozic in the back row. He's got Keta on the outside. And Verona, you've got so many good options here, and they're so lethal. Whereas Teofol, we've seen kind of come in on one of these angles. Darlan Souza to hit that D ball is completely, there's two things to note here. One, the angle that he's coming in on, right? It's a much different angle to be able to give him different looks. But two, he's a meter further up into the court than Teofol is, right? Fol is usually starting his C-ball, D-ball approach back here, whereas Darlan is over here. And you'll see on this sequence as well, too, that it's just, it's just, a 1-2. It's just a quick 1-2. And he's so explosive. That's what he's expected from, but it allows him to hit that ball with so much speed, right? It's probably a little bit higher than they want it to be too, but that's just due to the distance of the set. But he's just hitting that ball with so much speed and allows him to go underneath, right? He's hitting that ball underneath Micheletto into one of those angles. Now, this is a really funny play. It's the last one I show here of this first set, because great pass there, and Bartha actually hits that ball, and it's not supposed to be going for him, right? He's just used as the decoy there, but you'll see here, right here, he actually hits that ball with his offhand, and it just kind of goes over the net. But he does a really good job of getting over. Look how big he is in that situation. Gets those hands over, blocks Mosic. And you'll see here Keta, a little bit upset, a little bit frustrated with himself, I'm pretty sure, because he is just standing there, isn't covering whatsoever. And I'm pretty sure he's just mad at himself in that moment. But obviously, Trentino takes this first set. All right, so it's already 2-0 here, Verona in the first. Micheletto missed a swing before this. But this is why, this play right here is why you need to give so much respect to Flavio, especially when Trentino, or Brazil, is in system, because he is just dominant. And when we slow this down just a little bit, look at the height he's hitting this ball at, right? He is hitting that ball at the top of the antenna. Right, he is hitting that ball so damn high, and it allows him to just hit any angle he wants. And at that point, right, when he's hitting a ball like this, when he's hitting a ball this damn high and he's on time and everything, it's just so good. And this is a perfect example of setters need to set to their hitters, right? This isn't a typical quick. This isn't a typical 51, right? That's almost a meter ball, but when you've got a guy like Flavio who's touching at the top of the antenna, you have to set that ball there, and he absolutely buries it. Gross. Now, in the very next play here, I want you guys to see some really good blocking by Théophore. Some really good blocking. And once again, right, you see Trentino just starting in their usual box. And now, and actually we'll slow this down and look at that ball again, right? It's passed behind him. And because he needs to move backwards, and because it's clear that they were moving Darlan on more of an inside route, he's forced to go outside. Right now at this point, he's only got one more option, and that is going to be go to the outside to Keta. And you've even see here, right? You can even see Micheletto is standing straight up. He's not too worried about, a fast set, because Micah's weight is on his back, and that's a difficult set to make. But I want you guys to watch Fore here as he's blocking, because his eyes never follow the ball. He's watching Micah, and then as soon as that ball is released, he's going to find the hitter. And that's what he's going to identify to be able to set his block, right? He's not looking where the ball is going, because the problem is that, especially with a guy like Keta, you're watching that ball, and then you're going to go up, but Keta is going to be hitting that ball this way. So you'll see here that Théophore's eyes go from Micah straight to Keta, and that's where he's going to be going up, pushes straight over, takes away the space. Beautifully done. All right, so a few plays later on, this shows just the presence of mind of Trentino and the way that they run their things. So Bartha's serving here, and it's going to create an out-of-system situation for Verona. It just kind of dumped over, and right away, bam. Right away, Spertoli just sets that second ball. And I know that dish on two is really popular out there, but the thing is that when you're doing that, you need to establish that first ball. You need to establish that you can actually hit that first ball. And I mean, here, there's no doubt that Micheletto is going to be hitting that ball, right? And that's obviously a played play, because you know what? Usually, obviously, like this was an out-of-system play, but it's not uncommon to try to get the setters out when you're putting out a free ball. So Spertoli, right, this is supposed to be a set, but Spertoli recognizes it, calls the guys off, and immediately Micheletto knows that that's going to be a back row ball for him. Why do it in three when what you can do in two? So next up here, we're going to see an absolutely wonderful class set by Spertoli. Just getting pushed out of system and being able to find Micheletto. All right, we're going to slow that down here a little bit. Just so good, finding the gap. And now he's recognizing here that as he's moving, you've got Cortesia who's going to follow. Or sorry, as long as the setter is going to be moving along the net, the middle is going to be following him. And you've got Cortesia who's going to be following along. But instead of setting Flavio there, he bites on Cortesia. It creates so much misdirection here, because, as he's backsetting now, he has 1, to 3 different guys that he can go to in this scenario, right? He has 3 different guys that he can set on that back set, and it really just causes a lot of confusion for the Verona hitters. It's really well done, and of course you're giving it to your best hitter, why not? But still, just beautifully done, because even there, Keta has to try to decide between, is it going to be full or is it going to be Micah, who he's sending that ball to. All right, this next play to me is Trentino at their best, right? When they're playing like this, it's what makes them one of the best teams in the world. So first and foremost, you've got Jordi Ramon, who's absolutely going to crush this serve and immediately get them back into offensive mode. And you'll see, like, Lorenzano identifies that ball early. He's already over here looking, but you've already got all of their hitters getting ready, right? You've still got all 4 of their hitters who are going to be getting ready. And Lorenzano, we know he's good at ball control, so he's going to be able to pin that down. Next up, right, Spertoli is going to run Jordi Ramon, and that's actually a really good dig. So as we watch that here again by Sartori, and just look at where he is. And after that ball is set, so he's inside first to be able to block, to look for the middle, and then he moves outside on that pipe ball, gets a hand on it just enough. Keta keeps it alive. Now it's just dumped over by Mosic. But then once again, just right back to him. And once again, we talked about how Spertoli really likes going to the middles in transition. So that's exactly what we saw there. That's exactly what we saw there with Cortesia biting on Flavio there. We just talked about how Flavio is so damn good and you have to respect him. So instead of, waiting for that back row ball, he went up with the middle and just left everything open. And Sartori does a really good job to get the ball, to get a hand on the ball, but still, Ramon's a pretty good swinger. He's going to put that ball away usually. This is the point where I really think that Micah starts to take over this game. And now you'll see that Trentino's up by 5 here, and they do end up winning this set. But this is where he really starts executing his offense. And you'll see here that this is a good pass by the Rock. And, when he's passing that ball, he's got all of his options. And then we're going to see here that Bartha goes up with Cortesia, and it's just a straight one-on-one on the outside there. Now, what makes Keta so damn good is that if he's hitting that ball at his own peak, he's actually hitting that ball, right here, okay? But instead, because he's hitting outside of his body, he's allowing himself a little bit more time, and just a little bit more time to hit that ball to the outside, right? And now, because he's hitting that ball here as opposed to up here, it allows him the outside angle. If he was to hit that ball quickly, Fole's hand would have been right there, and instead it allows him to go off the block and out of bounds. Now, this play here, we get to see why Micheletto is the best player in the world. Okay, out of system situation here by Trentino. He's going to get a really tight ball and recycle it, and just back right up and then just hit an absolutely insane angle. Just absolutely ridiculous. And once again, you'll see that whereas, Keta likes to hit that ball to the outside, Micheletto is going to hit this ball straight up and down. So when he contacts this ball here, he's contacting it at his peak where he can just do whatever he wants with that ball, right? He's not looking to hit it to the outside. Instead, he's hitting it cross court. And notice where this ball lands. Notice where this ball hits Francesco Sani. Francesco Sani is so far inside, like there's so much room here that you can't even see his feet. Right? He's so far to the inside and it hits him in the chest. And that's why Micheletto is, in my view, the best player in the world, because I don't know anyone else who can do this and hit this ball like this, and especially in an out of system situation. That's just ridiculous. Once again, there, Fole just absolutely crushes a serve. And at this point, it really looks like Trentino is going to dominate this match, right? They're up by 7. They're already up 1-0, and it looks like they're going to get revenge from the first match of the year. So to me, this is where the game changes. This is where things start going in favor of Verona, which is crazy because when we look at the screen here, it's 20-11 in favor of Trentino. You didn't see it, but it was just like basically like a block and 2 aces in favor of Trentino, and they've just been absolutely dominating. But this to me is where things change, and there's a couple plays by Micah right here that kind of set the tone for me. So it's this play right here, this dig, and then the subsequent dig after, that kind of gets Verona into that workman-like mentality. So we're going to slow it down once again and just see here, as soon, like Micah spots so early that Ramon is going to be going for that second touch, right? You'll see here, right here, Micah, he's not going to play defense big down the line. He is charging that seam. And as soon as he sees that ball is tight, as soon as he sees him keep his right hand and his left hand up, Micah just charges the seam, and it turns into a really good out-of-system swing there by Namori Keta. Of course, as always, he can just make so many crazy things happen out of system. You got Nedeljkovic going on a bit of a serving run here, and it all starts off by this dig by Micah Christensen, just standing perfectly just outside of the block, strapping it on, and of course they go out of system to Keta. He finds a seam in the block, and all of a sudden we went from 20-11, and now it's 21-15. So it went from a 9-point lead to just a 6-point lead, and that doesn't mean that much, but there's a couple of serving runs here that really start gaining this momentum. So as I said, the first TSN turning point to me was Micah's defense, and then it's this serving run from Darlan Souza, and he just absolutely just starts torching Trentino to get his team back in the game. First, nice little overpass there by Lorenzano, ends up in a broken play, and then just bam, just so much, and you'll see as he's going to swing here, Micah has all of his options. And as we said before, this is where Verona is terrifying. Flavio doesn't know what he has to do. He's got Sani fronting him right here. You've got Cortesia hitting this gap here all the way to the pin. You've got Keta, and of course he can run it fast backside to Darlan. He just goes straight up, and Francesco Sani absolutely pins that ball to the back corner. And once again, we talked about those angles. You'll see that like Trentino is playing their defense the exact way they want it. This is the way they set it up perfectly, but Sani hits that ball perfectly to that back corner right back here and just really does a great job to get this score here for Verona. Nobody's home, big swing, big reaction there by Namori Keta as well on the left side. And this just starts things going. And we'll see here on the next play too, as this one I'm pretty sure is an ace here from Darlan. Yeah, right off of Jordi Ramon, a bit of a clip off the net. As he's serving from that like 6-1 seam all the way across court 2-1. Just with so much pace, so much speed, clipping the net, just gives it a little bit of backspin. Ramon gives him the thumbs up, and then another big serve here from Darlan Souza gives them the overpass, and once again, all four of the hitters, in motion. You've got Darlan all the way to the outside, which really causes problems for Micheletto. And Micheletto needs to see him, he needs to change so he can't watch, and then you've got the double stack here in the back. Sometimes you'll see them line up kind of in different spots, but they're really lining up one behind each other. And then is able to get the one-on-one there for Namori Keta. He gets the overpass. And still, this is where that momentum starts to build here for Verona. And I've always said, like if you're down by a lot, those last few points really make a big difference. It's like getting a big bucket or a big score at the end of a quarter in basketball and football, or a big goal before the end of the half in soccer, or the end of the period in hockey. It just means quite a bit. Once again, Darlan comes right back out, swinging, huge point out of the timeout. And now they're only trailing by 4, and he does put this next one into the net, I believe. Yeah, he does, end of the set. But this run of points really helped build that momentum for Verona here. And that's exactly what they're saying in this huddle right now, too. That, hey, boys, let's go. We have that momentum. We've just built them. Now we know how to get going. And Verona, when Verona serves like that, they are really, really, really tough, right? Especially when they're getting those free balls back over, they are a tough team to deal with. Micah runs this offense very, very well. And you know what? They're down 2-0 now, but once again, this was a reverse sweep, and we'll see that just exactly why now. Now, at the beginning of the third set here, obviously Verona is down to 2-0, but Verona is a second half team, right? They are a team that likes to play from behind, and generally they lose that first set. So this isn't too much of an unfamiliar territory for them. Now, we've been talking about the progression of Théofaule's swinging, and I think that there's a couple plays here early on in this third set that are really indicative of that. So on this first play, you're going to see that he's going to be set that C ball. And if we slow things down here, right, once again, looks for that line shot and gets blocked. Now, I want you guys to see where he hits that ball, right? Right on the inside. And then he's going, straight on and ends up hitting right into Sandy. Just a few plays later, right, he made that swing at 2-2 and ended up making it 3-2 Verona. Now it's 5-3 for Verona. We're going to see that once again, he gets set in that C ball, but he switches it up a little bit. He expands the court. So as we slow things down here, we'll see where he's hitting that ball now. And he's a good, couple of feet to the right now. And he's also going to bring that ball back, right? So he's opening up that angle on the right side, and we can see here he first hit that first C ball still inside and even then, throughout the first couple of sets, he was generally hitting that ball around here. So we've seen the progression of his C ball as it's gone wider and wider, and it continues to be hit here on the outside. Now, this is going back to this very same play. If we watch that blocking progression, we see Cortesia go up with Bartha in the middle there, and then obviously Sani release to Théofaule. And on the very next play, we see how that progression continues, where Cortesia now stays down and immediately hones in onto Jordi Ramon in the middle. And if we watch his first step here too, he completely, as soon as that ball is set, even though it's towards Bartha's area, he's completely just honed in on Jordi Ramon. And to me, that's, just that progression. The last set went to Théofaule. That was their first guy. And then the next one, we've got Cortesia really honing in on Jordi Ramon in the back row and just makes a wonderful block there. And it's plays like this that really open up the match here for Verona. Now, right before that full swing on the C ball, we have this play here, which is a really good play to show, I think, Verona's progression throughout the season. It's a broken play, and I'm going to break it down here in a second. Obviously, we've got Micah running that 31. He loves running that gap. I want you more specifically to look at what happens in the back row. So as that ball is getting pushed over, it's a good recycle there. And now here, and we'll back that up just to play. So as that ball is getting recycled here, we see Darlan just back straight up. And now you've got Darlan coming out of the pipe here and Keta coming in on that C ball. And that there is enough, right? If Keta just kind of sees himself out of it and doesn't get back into position, if Darlan looks to go back into the C ball, it's going to cause too much confusion on their own side. So instead, they just stay, and it provides those options because that ends up locking in here Jordi Ramon and Bella Bartha into the block and creates this gap here for Nedeljkovic to swing into. Or sorry, that's Cortesia there. But still, there's those small details in that moment that I think is really important for Verona as they continue to progress throughout this match. All right, now, I do really like this sequence here, but it kind of shows the gamesmanship. Here, Cortesia just straight up beats Flavio. It's a nice set there by Micah, just puts him onto the net, sees that Flavio isn't kind of ready for him. They don't usually run Cortesia in that first ball side out offense, and he just does a really good job. And you'll kind of see afterwards, just, Flavio here kind of say, hey, that's my bad, right? In the very next play, Spertoli gives that ball right back to Flavio in almost a very situation. It's just a straight up, he's not moving him around, and gives that ball right back to Flavio just to give him that little bit of confidence and just to be like, hey, you're our guy. I want you to go for it. So then a couple plays later, this is where I really think, like as I mentioned in the last set, I really thought that Micah was in his bag and just setting a fantastic game. And it's this play right here that really shows why. Now it's a broken play, and we'll back this ball up a little bit just to slow it down for you to see. First ball out of system, he just gets it to the outside, and now right here, it's this set right here that really freezes Flavio and creates that gap on the outside for Keta to go one-on-one. And you'll see as he's coming up to that ball, he jumps with his left leg forward, which is a little bit abnormal. Now we'll see when he jumps kind of what happens to Flavio. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one there. Now we see Flavio get reset, and his first set is actually, right, he's looking this way, right? He's looking to the left side, and it's all because Micah jumped with his left leg up and forward, right? It looked like he was going to be opening up to be able to flick that ball back to Darlan, but instead, right, normally you want to kind of keep your right leg or your right shoulder almost perpendicular to the net so you can keep that ball off, and especially in an out of system play. But instead, it just uses that as athleticism. Looks like he's going to be able to open up and dish that ball back to Darlan. And of course, Darlan's in position, which makes it everything better. And he's in the front row. But instead, you've got Micah, who completely breaks Flavio's ankles here and just puts Keta there in an unreal position for the one-on-one. Now, earlier on in the season, I really thought that Simon Torvi was going to be playing alongside of Flavio for Trentino. But I think this play here just shows how hard Bella Bartha works and why he's earned that spot on the court. And this play ends up in just an absolute monster bounce for Bartha. We'll see here. He just goes underneath Nedeljkovic. But if we back that up, right, you'll see how many, just how hard he works throughout this rally. So this first ball, he's going to get good press there by Nedeljkovic, immediately resets, gets to the outside, is helping blocking there with Four. Once again, goes up, gets the block there on Sani, and immediately resets. And I think that there is the most important thing, right? He immediately identifies that, the ball's coming over and it's going to be his opportunity. He gets back. And I think that's one of the most important things, especially if you're a younger middle or, a middle to look at the play at that next level. Look at immediately, he gets right back into position. He's there. He's ready. He's waiting. And he knows that ball is going to be probably coming to him, right? Because you got Micheletto on the inside, you've got Foch on the outside, so they have all of their options, but still, Bartha does such a good job. And then he just goes up and absolutely bangs it, right? Goes underneath Nedeljkovic and goes crossbody, just a beautiful swing, and he gets rewarded for all of his hard work. Now, after that play, this is where I really thought Trentino was going to be taking over this match, right? They get that really good transition play here, then fantastic dig by Ramon, off to Four. They get that next point. They go up 11-10. You've got Four back on the baseline. Once again, another really strong serve, puts Verona out of system. They get it right back outside to Micheletto, and he just terminates. Now, I really thought at this point, this is where Trentino was going to start taking over this match and potentially win it in 3. But credit to Verona, this is also where they started to battle back as well. Now, it's this play right here where I really think things start to unravel just a little bit. It's the first thread that comes undone for Trentino, right? Out of system play. It's a really good dig by Keta in the back row. But it's this first play here by Bartha at the net that just opens up and allows Verona to get back into this match. So if we back it up just a little bit. Now, first thing I do want to highlight is the defense here by Keta. Just so well done, keeps that ball alive. And most importantly, through all of that is where he resets on this ball. He gets his heels on and basically behind that line. Right, so he's really playing that six-back defense. He's really making sure that anything over the top, which is actually where Ramon went, he's going to be able to get. But right after that, it's going to be this play at the net, Bella pulls and then just kind of jabs at it. And ultimately, Verona is going to be able to get that ball back, and it becomes their point, and they tie things up at 13, right? 13, right? Could have been 14-12, but instead it's 13-13. And in that case, you see here Micheletto with a bit of a reaction, and Micheletto, not generally one to react, kind of slaps his hands, and then we see Barth over here. Ah, come on. That's my bad. That's my bad. But still, it's those little points, right? Unforced errors are going to happen, especially on the physical side, like trying to hit that ball, really tight. But it's these mental mistakes that kind of get you going. Now, this ball here is just another example of pure Micah mastery. Just watch this set. Oh, all the way to the right side, completely overloads. We see Flavio is completely messed up on this ball. He goes up with Cortesia, thinks it's the only option, just leaves Darlan all the way out there on the one-on-one. Just so beautifully done. Just, ooh. Right? Like, man, he contacts that ball. Where does he contact that ball? Right here. Pushes it all the way. Ah, that is just so beautifully done. And you'll kind of see, too, how he gets that ball done. He's still kind of underneath it. It's not until as he's setting through that ball that he really jacks that ball back. But that's, to me, right there is why Micah Christensen is one of the best setters, if not the best setter. So to me, this upcoming sequence is why Darlan, in my books, should have maybe been the MVP of this match. And this first ball here, he's in serve receive, which he isn't normally. Passes a decent ball, gets it back, big cross-court swing. He ties things up at 17. They're still pretty close. But then he just goes back and absolutely uncorks and goes on another serving run. First one right at Ramon. Verona's going to get back a free ball and right to Nedeljkovic. Great job there by Micah. Next ball, same thing. Darlan just absolutely uncorks it, goes at Ramon once again. Broken play. Micheletto tries to recycle this one, and they do, but he's going to get it back. Sartori makes a really good read. And actually, let's look at that read once again by Sartori. As soon as he sees that it's Micheletto, he starts charging the gap, right? He sees that there's going to be 3 blockers, and instead of staying here, he's going to come into the middle to make that dig. Just a really good heads-up play from a young libero. That's how you want to see a libero reading that first play. And on the other side, right, immediately we see Lorenzano make the opposite play, right? So that ball is going to be tight. Keta goes up for it. Lorenzano, his first step, even though that ball is deep, his first step is going to be in. And it goes over top of him, and Ramon does a pretty good job to getting a touch, but unfortunately isn't going. That's why we see here Micheletto be a little bit upset as he goes out of frame, because, Trentino now goes up from 17-16 to now down 19-17. Same thing here, just another really good serve. Just puts Trentino in a terrible position. No one's going to really be able to play that ball. Spertoli just puts it up. 3-man block is up for Verona. So that's a 4-point swing, all because of Darlan's serving. And I mean, the first point was even his passing and swinging as well, too. And this one, he's going to miss this ball, but still, it gave them that 2-point lead for really the first time in the match this late into a set. Now, as I said before, I thought Darlan maybe should have the MVP, and once again, it's because the end of this sequence. Now, after 20, he scores 4 of Verona's points to give them this win. Now, basically, Trentino was able to pull things back with a really nice ace from Telfort, and that's that first set here. Back row, really well done, swinging it at that trailing blocker, coming outside to in as opposed to the Telfort inside to out. And you'll see just trying to go right underneath of where Micheletto is, and Barth is late. He recognizes that super early, super easy swing. But then, the very next play, pretty much the exact same thing happens. Bit of a dribbler serve there. Micheletto out of position. Mozic tracks this one down, and Micah goes right back to Darlan, but instead of trying to swing for that gap, he goes to the outside hand of Micheletto. Just another really good swing, a veteran swing right here. Sees that, Bartha is a little bit closer, so instead goes for that weak outside hand. High hands is always a good swing, goes up and out of bounds. So Darlan has scored the 22nd and the 23rd point, and now here they are in system, right back to him on that C ball, and he just comes in, guns a-blazing, sees that there's a big two-man block in front of him, doesn't even look cross court, and is just swinging away, reckless abandon down the line. Oh, that is just a beautiful shot there by Darlan Souza. Once again, that set from Micah is just crazy. Way inside of 3 there, kind of in that, 4.5 meter along the court, all the way to the outside, all the way to Darlan on the antenna. And it's just another fantastic separation set that, Bartha does a really good job of recognizing it here, and they've got a really solid two-man block, but still just a beauty set. If that set is a little bit more inside, like if that set's here, then Darlan doesn't have this shot at all, right? And he has to go cross court, and, Trento probably gets a good block on it and maybe even a transition kill. But this set here from Micah is really what does it. But then Darlan's awareness of the block and just absolute mastery and control of the ball to get it by Lorenzano there just makes it such a beautiful play. And, Darlan's already scored the past 3. He got you going with that serving run. He might as well just give it to him here to finish that set. Just a beautiful out-of-system set from Micah. Just absolutely jacks it back all the way. And now Darlan, this is his first swing in the front row in a little bit. The other ones are all in the back row. But once again, like Micah's going to be like around this area here. Shit. Micah is right here, goes all the way back. Darlan just goes straight back door over top of Ramon's hands, hits this angle here. So you've just seen him in that sequence hit 3-4 different angles, which once again is why he's one of the best. Now, early on in the fourth, I really thought that Keta was a little bit all over the place in the best way possible. Right, he was scoring, he was serving, he was playing defense, he was setting out a system. He was doing a little bit of everything. So this is the first example of here, just managing maybe what is a bit of an out-of-system set, but once again, his length just allows him to do something. Like he is legitimately touching that ball at the top of the antenna up here. And you like that, he is hitting that ball, touching that ball so high, and is what allows him to kind of go almost around the blocker and put that ball into the pot right here, right? And it just is an example of why he's so damn good, and he's so tough to play against. So that's the first play right there. Then the very next play, he goes back and serves this ace on Lorenzano right off of his shoulder. And once again, as I said before, just aiming for the inside, right? You don't want to be aiming right in the midline, and then anything too far outside of them or, within their span is going to be a lot easier than something that's right at one of their shoulders. And that's exactly what we see here against Lorenzano. Now, I actually think that ball is probably going out, but still just a fantastic serve here by Nomori Keta to give his team the advantage. So that's 2 points in a row. Now, once again, very next play, he's still serving, puts a good ball in, better pass there for Lorenzano. Obviously, just this broken play, and we'll see, just no regard, takes a big swing. And now, unfortunately, this doesn't end up as a point here for Verona. That's a really good dig there by the libero. Trento gets it back. They run Bartha this time, unfortunately isn't able to do. But you'll see in the very next play, much the same thing from Keta. Just a high ball to the middle, to the pipe. Micah just puts it up. Keta, no question that he's swinging on that ball the entire time. And even though there is 2, kind of even 3 blockers on that one, Micheletto's on his way down, he's still able to go OT on Bartha, get that downward trajectory, hit it off the hands, and out of bounds. And then a couple of plays later here too. Outside ball to Micheletto. That's wonderfully dug. Out of system set by Keta. Nice and high. Darlan takes a bit of that pause. And, to me, this is where there's a bit of a mistake from Trentino, right? You've got Darlan all the way on the outside here. He can't hit any of these angles, right? He can't hit any of those angles because Trentino is creating a decent block there. So if we just advance it just a couple of points as he's hitting that ball, there's no way for him to be hitting any of these angles. His only course of action is to hit that ball deep or to go high off that hand, right? So to me, this is a mistake in the read of Trentino's defense, because I want to see Faure, and like Faure is a right side. We can't really expect him to play that good of a defense. But for Lorenzano, especially when he's playing 6 back in this position, I want to see him getting over here and making sure that he can make the play on this ball, because instead is what we see Darlan just going deep perfectly into that back corner. Now, you can't take away what Darlan did with this shot, and Keta's set was fantastic as well. Nice high, gives his hitter a real good chance. But to me, that should be a diggable ball from Lorenzano. And we've seen a couple of times here already where he just makes a bad read in out of system broken play situations. So now this to me is where things start really unraveling for Trento in this 4th set and pretty much in the match. You've got Ramon here on a complete one-on-one, completely left on his own as Bertoli is setting this ball. And this is perfect for Trentino here, right? This is absolutely perfect. You got Micheletto coming out the middle. Bartha is attacking this gap here. You've got Faure on the C ball, who's been really great all afternoon. And Ramon's been having a pretty good game so far, but he gives that ball outside. He's got a one-on-one and completely misses. Like, he has almost the entirety of the court to swing at, right? If we look at as that ball is getting hit, he's got this entire sideline to go at, and unfortunately isn't able to put it away. But not only does he have that entire sideline, right, but he has he can, like, Darlan is late, he can swing at the hands here. He's got this entire line. He can go into the middle of the court. Sure, there's defenders there, but he's got, open daylight. But this miss to me is one of just the unravelings here of Trentino. And then the very next play, right, we see some more bad defense from Trentino, right? Bartha's just served an ace, so they've brought it back by 1, and here, that's just bad right there. Sani is not in a good position to be able to hit this ball, right? He has to go outside of the antenna. He's got no other options. He's got no other options here. He has to go into the middle of the court. And of course, you do have a middle defender there. If Lorenzano or, one of the outsides is in this position, it might be a little bit different, but you have to do better here than what Bella Bartha shows on this play. Is he doesn't identify it right away. And then if you watch where his energy goes forward instead of to the ball, which is really the issue on this play, right? He gets into the spot decently enough. He could charge that gap a little bit more, but Théo Faure is there, so that maybe isn't his role. But instead of going to the ball and playing it with his, left hand, he's going to go towards the net, which you never want to see, right? You never want to see. And that's kind of what, it's these small mistakes here that ends up really just opening up this match and this set completely for. As the very next play here, we've got just another outside ball to Faure. Really good pull here by Cortesia. Sorry, outside ball to Ramon. Really good pull by Cortesia. Good read by Sani. And it went from, an easy 2-point game to now it being a 3-point game. And then just to add insult to injury, you've got Sani here serving. They go right side back row to Faure, and Faure doesn't really make many errors, but this is a crucial one at a bad time. And just all of a sudden, right, this game just opens up. Now it's a 4-point lead for Verona, and realistically, Trentino doesn't really have any momentum in this match at all after this point. All right, a few points later, it's still a 4-point lead here for Verona, but this next sequence is really magical, the next few points. First, I really like the set here from Micah. I really like the way that he runs Nedeljkovic. And the reason that I really like it is we're going to see Nedeljkovic come in kind of on this angle here, and then he ends up popping out just a little bit over. And Micah's set isn't going to be, just a quick set or like a quick loop. He's really shooting it up, as we'll see here, nicely slow, where he's just pushing Nedeljkovic just a little bit. Because if Nedeljkovic just goes straight, he's going right into Bartha, right? If he just goes straight on, he's going to go right into Bartha. Bartha's going to jump into the gap, but he's just pushing Nedeljkovic just a little bit. We see him do this a lot with Team USA as well, but just wonderfully executed. Of course, if Lorenzano's there, it's probably going to be a dig, not at the hardest hit, but still really, really well done. And then after that, over the next few plays, is just a bit of Keta domination. So a really strong serve, puts them out of system. He's going to make the dig here, and just look how quickly he transitions that ball. And that, to me, is why I think I'm liking him more and more on the outside, is his ability to transition that pipe ball really, really well. His celly is so great there too. So you see he's not as far back as I'd like him to be on defense, but still well within system. And I do think that Keta has been really good at playing defense in system. He doesn't charge the gap too much. He doesn't put himself in bad positions. He's constantly reading the play. And that, like, as soon as he lands, he's going to rush the attack. As soon as he touches this ball, and I mean, I know it's an overhead pass, but still, he's going to make himself available for offense. And I absolutely love that from Nomori Keta. Now, Micah recognizes this too. And even though as he's going to set this ball, he's got some decent options, right? I mean, Nedeljkovic is outside of the play. Sani is a little bit too far inside, and he's approaching right at Théophore. But, you know, Micah has Keta, and he also has Darlan. And Darlan is going to be blocking up against Micheletto, but still opts to go with Keta. And Keta, just nice little dance there too. You got to love to see it. And it's basically the exact same thing on the very next play. He puts in a nice strong serve, pulls Bertoli off that net. It's just going to be jacked up to the outside. And once again, makes a really good dig on that baseline, gets it back, and then hits for that exact same gap between Bartha and Faure. And this time, you know, he even had to go to his knees, is able to get up quickly. And this, to me, you know, Keta's sequence here is just unreal. Fantastic dig, gets immediately back up. I mean, the ball's not even halfway down, and he's already getting himself into position. And just a fantastic swing off of that inside hand of Théophore right by Sbertoli. Just so well done. And then, you know, like I said, like, this game was a 2-point game not too long ago, and now it's really opened up into a 6-point set. Then, just to cap it all off, he just serves an absolute banger of an ace. Just going after Jordi Ramon, who, you know, has been the weak link of Trentino's passing all day long. His classic celly back there as well, too. And once again, you know, kind of at the knees, not right in between him where it's easy to handle, not outside, you know, where they're strong in passing. He could have gotten that up a little bit higher, but this one is all about the pace. And I mean, look at where he lands when he serves this ball, right? He's landing halfway into the court on the attack line. And I mean, we've all seen those clips of Keta hitting online, but still just an evidence of how good he is. Next up, like, do I even have to say it? It's just another one of the same. Another bullet of a serve. This time they give it to Faure. Another back row dig from Keta. Might as well just jack it up for him. Goes off the hands of Micheletto. Out of bounds. And now an 8-point match, right? This was all Nomori Keta here just to open things up here in this fourth set. Darlan was the third set. Keta was the fourth. Incredibly well done. All right, once again, look where he's playing that defense. His heels are almost on that baseline. Everyone in the gym knows where that ball is going to, and still he's able to put it away. Now an 8-point lead for Verona. Now just one more thing I kind of want to pinpoint here in this set. Now at this point, Trentino has kind of put in the bag. They've brought in, you know, the subs. Ramon has been subbed out. Théophore has been subbed out. It's no longer Sbertoli in there. They've got in Acquarone. But this block from Nomori Keta on Gabby Garcia is just absolutely vicious. Look at the press he's got up there. And that is just, oh. Like, oh my goodness. Look at the height at which he's blocking this ball, right? Oh, and just absolutely slams Garcia. unreal, right? This is, once again, this is where I said he really took over the match, and he absolutely did. And obviously Verona takes this one and ends up forcing a fifth set. Now, I said a little bit earlier that I thought that Darlan probably should have been, in my opinion, MVP. And while he didn't score as many points as Keta, I mean, they both played fantastic. It doesn't really matter all that much. You do have to kind of look at the impact of when he did things, right? That serving run in the third really saved them, and is what, helped them stay in this match. And then right here at the beginning of the fifth set, he just pops off two incredible aces, right? First one goes after Micah, and you'll see kind of he serves that ball, and just look at the curve on that ball, right? Look, he hits this ball and then just curves it in towards Micah. Not much he can do. And the same thing with this next ball too. Next one, instead of going at Micah, he goes right to the outside of Ramon, and at least that one's a little bit closer. It's not a flyby. It goes to the other side of the net, and right like that, just like that, Verona has the lead early on here in the fifth set. But that doesn't mean that Trentino is fully dead. This is a perfect play here. Flavio just working his butt off, closes that gap really quickly, and then turns around and absolutely bangs a ball in transition. Once again, this is why he's one of the best in the world. Identifies that set, right? Not getting pulled away by Nedeljkovic. Look how quickly he is able to get over there and close that gap on Keta. And Keta is just about to hit that ball, right? There's almost no separation between Keta and the ball, and Flavio still needs to go up. And yet, as we see here, as we go like frame by frame, he's just able to get over so quickly and get a touch on that ball, and ultimately just immediately runs that route around. And that is just so well done. Textbook for middles. So well done there by Spertoli, even Spertoli too, to just recognize that Flavio was an option. That's a big play there for Trentino. And in the very next play, Verona has a great answer, and just look at the trajectory of this ball from Micah. Just setting Keta at the top of the antenna is just incredible. Look where he's hitting that ball, right? All the way up here. The blocker's hands are down here. He's just going straight OT, and Foch is not a small guy by any means, but just the trajectory of that set too just shows how much confidence Micah has in his guy, where he's just setting that way up there and just letting Keta climb the ladder and go get it. Now, things are all tied up here at 3 in the fifth. And I'm really just showing this play because of how it ends and how it affects the very next play. It's an out-of-system pass. It goes back over for Trentino. Bit of a jammed attack there by Micah. And right here, I mean, we've seen it so many times over and over again in that pass set in transition. Verona loves to go to Keta, and he's pretty much automatic. But on this one, he isn't. Right? On this one, he sends that ball a little long and ends up giving Trentino the advantage. Now, in the very next play, let's see how it affects the blocking, because here is a bit of a better pass, right? At least it's in front of the attack line. And as we watch, well, we'll play it in real time, and then we'll redo it. Nedeljkovic gets a fantastic swing, but he is able to do that just because, right? Flavio here, as Nedeljkovic is hitting that ball, and Nedeljkovic is contacting that ball, and Flavio is still on the ground. Because if you're to see him just a few points before, he's expecting that second ball to go to Keta, right? He's fully expecting that second ball to go to Keta, and instead, Nedeljkovic just has the entire court to go up against him. And once again, just the awareness of Micah is really in full display throughout this match. Just a fantastic run just to tie things up. Once again, we're going to see Keta's defense on display here. Good serve there by Micah, puts that pressure on. It's going to be a really tight pass here for Micah. Keta makes that dig in the back row. It's a tight ball, and Darlan is just going to overpower that, push it through, and unlucky here for Lorenzano. Right? But all of this play is made possible by this dig by Namori Keta. And once again, like as that ball's being hit, look at where he's standing. It's a 3-man block. He's all the way on that back line. All the way on that back line, and he's just giving himself the perfect chance to be able to make this play. And like, how many times have we broken it down just in this session alone of what Keta is able to do. Just keeps that ball alive. They keep it over, and just a bit of a broken play. You'd hope that Lorenzano was able to do something with it, but that is just a tough play overall, and that ends up giving Verona the advantage, which in the fifth set is sometimes all you need. And it's even more all you need when you've got Micah Christensen going back there and serving like this, just serving an absolute bullet at Jordi Ramon and just overpowering him. Love the stance there too. Look at that reaction there from Micah Christensen. Love it. Things continue to be interesting all throughout though, as we see here. Good serve from Teofol, pulls Micah off the net, and he's going to give it back to Darlan, and he just gets slammed by Micheletto this time. But there's a few things to notice here. First and foremost, this ball from Micah lands a little bit inside, right? As we see here, Darlan has to jump from here, and he ends up contacting that ball way further inside. He was essentially jumping from here way more inside than what we've seen. But also what I think is important to watch here is there's just a little bit of hesitation, right? Micheletto does a really good job of not going too far over. He just slows things down, slows his momentum, and just goes straight up once he identifies that Darlan's angle is way more cross court. And, going thumb down the line isn't that available anymore for Darlan in that situation, and we're all tied up at 7. And we'll see that play out basically in the exact same play, but just a different ending, right? Outside set. This time Darlan, all of his momentum is going to be coming on straight. Micheletto is fronting him, and instead, right, Darlan is going to just turn this ball cross court. Spertoli's right there, but still the heat on that is just far too much. Darlan continues to be amazing. Verona, one of the best serving teams in the world, continues that. This time is Francesco Sani going after their usual victim, Jordi Ramon, who gets aced for the second time in that fifth set. Just a really big play in this fifth set, just to create that 2-point separation. There was two things that really impressed me overall from Verona in this match, and there was their coverage and just their overall hard work. And we'll see that in this play, just perfectly well done. They get a really good cover on that first swing by Keta, but just Micah is just out there hustling. That first ball, not the best pass here from Sani. Micah has to really chase that down, and it's a really good coverage. Just as Keta is hitting this ball, look right here. Got Sartori hanging out right here. Nedeljkovic, perfect as the middle. You got Sani covering this back. I mean, Darlan is along the net if possible, if needed. Maybe he's not in the best position, but the ball is a little bit further away. So it's really well done there by Verona. And then the same thing. Micah just hustles back in, gives it back to Keta. He just goes OT. You can see Micheletto a little bit frustrated there that Ramon maybe didn't try to go up and over and get it, but I don't think he could have gotten that ball at all. Now, pretty much the nail in the coffin, just more strong serving from Darlan Souza and that Verona team. Their third ace of this fifth set, going right there in the gap between Lorenzano and Micheletto. Wonderfully done. And that gives them that 3-point gap, which is pretty much enough to finish off this match. Now, because Micah has been running Nedeljkovic really well on that just straight up 51, he really freezes Flavio here for this huge Nomori Keta swing that opens up that gap and allows Keta to go in between the blockers. And once again, as we'll see, is that as Micah's about to set this ball, there's just no movement whatsoever from Flavio. Like, he is waiting to see where that ball goes, and there's no cheating whatsoever. So he's chasing that ball completely. And then by the time Keta is hitting that ball, there's this entire gap for him to swing at. And I mean, Micheletto is right there when the ball's getting hit that hard, though. It's almost impossible to stop. This match wasn't over yet, of course. Trentino fights all the way to the end. It was 15-13, but this is the benefit here of Teofol going into out, where because he's inside, he's able to make this play happen and jump to the ball and hit that ball around the 7 or even 6 meter mark along the net, which really just opens things up. And you'll see Sani's reaction after this ball too, where he just gets beat to the inside because he's watching the ball and doesn't watch Four's body until it's too late, right? When you see his eyes, he's still looking at the ball there, and it's not until Four is jumping where, he's watching the ball, and even right here, you can see that he's just turning away. His eyes are this way. He's not picked up on where Théo Four is just yet, and he ends up going past him. So ends up missing him and then going past him, leaving that entire side of the court open for Four. And now once again here, we'll see another play where Four has made, making Sandy look a little bit silly. And this is a really nice long rally. Good touch there by Spertoli in the back. Good blocking and defense here by Verona overall. Unfortunately, it's just going to be sent over as a free ball. And you're going to see here, there's a little bit of tell, right? Like Spertoli's hands are in front of that ball. You can tell he's going to be jacking it back. But Nedeljkovic's feet are narrow here, right? So he's only going to be going straight up. And I mean, with the way Flavio's been playing throughout this match, you have to be able to go up with him. But as we see here, it's just a straight back dish. And Four actually starts his approach from a little bit more inside than we're used to him seeing, and a little bit closer. But you're going to see kind of this like C shape almost as he's going to come around the ball and attack it right through the arms of Francesco Sani. Just a tough one, right? Because you don't want to be too narrow, because you don't want to be able to give away too many angles on either side. And it's just a really skilled shot to make, just right through the wickets, giving the Trentino home crowd just a lot of hope, which turned out to be for nothing. Once again, this play here before match point just shows how big of a pickup Nedeljkovic is. And also, I've been calling the young Verona libero Sartori this entire time. His name is Staffarini, so I apologize. But first, he makes a fantastic pass here, right? Really good pass, keeps that ball in front of him, keeps his shoulders square through the ball, his platform in front of him, which opens everything up here from Micah just to dish that ball to Nedeljkovic. And once again, Flavio's blocking here in this fifth set. He just gets caught so many times just watching. And especially because you've got Rock Mosic in the back row who hasn't been hitting at all in this match, right? You've got to think that Nedeljkovic is going to be the guy. So that's just a really good run there by Micah. And originally, it's not called down. They keep the ball playing, but the referee just calls the immediate challenge right away, goes to the box, and the entire team is saying it's down, and ultimately it was. Now, match point here, and I'm pretty sure that this is something that teams are going to be picking up on, that it seems that almost every single time Flavio misses a blocking assignment, that Spertoli goes right back to him. And I mean, makes sense, especially when you got Cortesia in front of you. It's not Nedeljkovic, who is a much bigger blocker. He was actually the best blocker in the Lega Volley last year. But just goes and tees it up right for him, and he puts that ball away. But Spertoli loves giving it right back to Flavio whenever he's kind of missed a blocking assignment. And then, of course, here now you've got some substitutions. Gabby Garcia is coming in. Tough one for the kid out of BYU. Former Puerto Rican, now American, because he's going to be going back and serving in a really tough position, looking to put his team equal and at least put that ball in. And I mean, I'll let the tape do the talking here, because I do think that Trentino played pretty decent throughout the course of this match. But in my opinion, that if they were going to want to win this one, it had to be done in the third or the fourth. But I mean, they completely lost the fourth. If you're going to go like Verona is a really big momentum team. So if you're going to allow them to win 2 sets in a row going into the fifth, that's a really tough spot to be able to put them in. And Verona has really proven themselves. I was really doubtful if they were going to be able to do it. I wasn't sure if the additions of Darlan and Micah Christensen were going to be that significant. But I mean, they've proven me wrong. And even without their starting libero, even with Staffarini in there playing, they were able to get the win. All right, guys, that'll do it for my breakdown of this match between Trentino and Verona. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you guys want me to do some more of these. Maybe if you guys want to, I'll do a live stream while we're doing it, a members-only live stream while I'm doing this breakdown or when I'm recording it, if you guys are going to want to ask some questions and for me to break down some things. So thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.